I'm Jonathan Elias from ABC7 News. It's good to have you here for the 39th Annual Washington Area Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Service. Just a couple of things. I was honored to be asked to do this. I come from a family of service. My father was military, and my stepmother was a homicide detective for Los Angeles Police Department for 17 years. Growing up, it was interesting as a kid. You watch your stepmother grab her purse and put her badge in her gun and then head out the door. And you never give it a second thought about what might happen that day. And on any given day, members of law enforcement, they deal with that day in and day out. That kind of service, that kind of selflessness, that's what we're here to celebrate. This is a celebration of life, while at the same time it is a memorial. If everybody would please stand for the colors. The national anthem this morning will be sung by Officer Charlotte DeJasu with Lieutenant Virginia Fedor providing American Sign Language interpretation. Please come on up.
Ready? Cut. Right shoulder. Oh. Ready? Cut. Freeze it. Oh.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose were stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, and the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red-glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Nor say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Shoulder. Oh. Order. Oh. Ready? Cut. Oh. Oh. Mark it fire. Ready. Yep.
Port. Whoop. Color. Right. Pick. Forward. Whoop. Left. Right. Left. Left. Right. Left.
Please stay standing. The D.C. Police Department Chaplain, Monsignor Sal, will he join us for the invocation, please?
Let us now bow our heads in prayer. God our Father, we come here this day on this 39th annual Washington Area Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Service. Lord, we give thanks for the many blessings and graces you bestow upon us every day. Today, on this occasion, we recall those 7 first responders who have made the ultimate sacrifice and who have given their lives in the line of duty. Lord, today we truly pray that they are with you in their eternal reward. And on this day, we also remember the loved ones who have been left behind. Lord, we ask that you continue to give them the strength, the wisdom and the guidance and strength and courage that they need as they continue their journey now with pain and sorrow. Help them, Lord, to realize you are with them always to guide and to heal. We make this prayer today as your loyal and faithful servants, always called upon to do your will. In his name, let us pray. Amen.
Please be seated. They told me specifically, they said, Monsignor Sal. They said, just say that, because if you use his real name, it would confuse everybody, including the Monsignor. So that's why we just went with Sal. We're good with that. And just last comment about service and selflessness. I do a lot of work with the military. I've been an instructor at the U.S. Army War College for the past 10 years, so I've dealt with a lot of senior command, and I've seen a lot of sacrifice. I've known people who've lost their lives in the service to their country. The same is true for police officers all across this country, men and women. They put on a uniform every day. They go out and they serve others. They don't ask questions about where they're rushing to. When there's an emergency, they never think twice about getting there. And once they get there, they put their lives in between what could harm us and just regular people at home or regular people out on their everyday work that just want to get something done that day. They're never even thinking twice that there could be harm or any hurt that could come. It's that kind of selflessness that we sacrifice. And when one of them go down, everybody should mourn, and everybody does mourn. And I can tell you in the news business, every time we have to do a story about another officer that has been killed in the line of duty, it absolutely breaks our heart. It's probably one of the hardest stories we have to read. So today when they asked me to do this, I was more than honored to do that. And again, 7 lives have been lost in just the past year. And the reason I say celebration is because friends of mine in the military, they said, listen, there's 2 ways we're all at some point going to die in our life. Father Time, undefeated. He'll never be beat. So you can either go out in this life, live a full life, 80 years old, and perhaps perish from some disease, or you can die doing something that you love with people that you love. And my friend in the military said that the best. He said, listen, I don't think about dying doing what I do, and I'm sure everybody who's dressed in uniform or has ever suited up in uniform doesn't think that way either. But if it should befall you during your act of just getting your job done, you're surrounded by people that love you and respect you, doing the job that hopefully you love and respect. And that's called glory, and that's called sacrifice. And those are the things that we celebrate. So for the 7 families that have joined us today, and I know there are representatives here, know that you're surrounded by people that respect and honor and love the sacrifices not only that your lost has made, but that you have made as well as a family member. Here to welcome us now is the President of the Fraternal Order of Police, D.C. Lodge No. 1, Sean Rosa. Please come up.
Good morning and welcome. I'm honored to speak before you on behalf of D.C. Lodge No. 1, all its members. This will be my first police week as president. This is both overwhelming and a great honor. Every name that will go on the wall this year is some mother's son or daughter. A mother like Miss Gibson. A mother like Miss Dynamo. A mother like Miss McGee. And a mother like Miss McBride. Or any other police mother, just like the one we all have, that worries every night that we may not come home. A mother that understands that this is a profession we chose We chose that profession knowing we would never be rich, we would work long hours, we would not spend holidays with our family, we would run towards danger as others ran away, sometimes only to be criticized for it later on. And there could come a day where we don't come home. This is why we must remember and honor our survivors. Because it was not just these heroes that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our cities and for our country. It was also their mothers, their fathers, their spouses, their partners, their friends, and above all, their children. I was hired in 2007, just before Christmas. It was going to be my first Christmas away from my family, so I thought at the time. It actually turned out to be my first Christmas with my new family, my blue family. This was because Miss Gibson invited me into her home, where she served me a home-cooked Christmas dinner. I left Miss Gibson's home that day, not only stuffed and with a few cakes to go, but also with a newfound respect for what our survivors mean to our officers on the street. Just like Miss Didymo, who has taken the pain and the sadness of the tragic loss of her son Paul and channeled that into her work with the organization Concerns of Police Survivors. Knowing that the next mother who goes through a similar tragedy will already have a support system in place. Being from 7D, the loss of Paul will forever be on my mind. However, at this year's 7D awards ceremony, seeing Paul's mother, father, wife, and child made my 7D family aware that no matter what happens, our blue family is one and will always and forever look out for each other. With that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Peter Newsham.
Good morning. I have to say this up front. It is heartwarming to see the city leadership here to remember the lives of the officers who paid the ultimate sacrifice. We have the mayor of the District of Columbia, the city administrator, the attorney general, and council members. Thank you so much for coming. I can't tell you how much that means to the men and women who wear this uniform. Today we're here in remembrance of our fallen brothers and sisters who have faithfully served and sacrificed their lives so that others can be safe. This week is a solemn but special time for law enforcement in America. During Police Week, we reflect upon the great sacrifices made by a few for the good of so many. We also get to say thank you to all those who are currently serving in law enforcement for their dedication, commitment, and willingness to be guardians of our community. Policing in today's environment has become increasingly difficult. We know all too well that it is extremely dangerous. We also know that our officers are frequently criticized and rarely thanked for the work that they do. But in spite of the danger and in spite of the criticism, and I think this is the thing I love most about police officers, every day they wake up, they put on their uniforms, and they answer the call for service. They don't do it because they think someone will say thank you, and they don't do it to receive recognition and awards. They do it because they know that it is right, and they do it because they know that they play an essential role in a civilized society. I have been policing for almost 3 decades here in the District of Columbia. And many along the way have lost their lives, many of our officers. I worked with all of them. I personally knew most of them, and some of them were my dear friends. Every year around this time, as we celebrate Police Week and we celebrate their lives and the sacrifices that they made, there are 2 emotions that I feel. I feel a profound sense of sadness because my friends are no longer here with me. I feel sadness because I will not have the opportunity to speak to them or to laugh with them again. But I also feel an incredible sense of pride. I feel pride because I was so lucky to have known them. To all of the survivors here today, and especially the family and friends of Special Agent Wesley Yu, Special Agent Robert Roth, Special Agent Stephen Carr, Special Agent Jerry Job, Special Agent Rex Stockham, Deputy Chief Fire Marshal Sandra Cohen, and Detective Sean Suter. Please try to remember that it's okay to be sad, but also try to remember to be proud. Proud of the lives that they served, and proud to know that they were in your lives. Thank you. May God bless you, and may our thoughts and prayers be with you during this extremely difficult time. Thank you.
The introduction now is for the mayor, but I wanted to quickly say something if I could. I've lived in a number of different cities in my career over 30 years, and there are a lot of places I've been where the mayors are checked out. They don't understand police work. They don't know what police work requires. They don't know the sacrifices involved, and they certainly don't know the criticism that comes with the job, fair or unfair. We're fortunate to live in an area where we have a mayor. Not only does she have skin in the game, but every time there is any kind of event, whether it's a medium-sized or a big size, she is right there side by side with the chief of police. And not only that, she's plugged into the point where she can always say something or has a comment to either belay the fears of the folks in the community or let them know what is happening. So it is an honor to have Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good afternoon, Chief, officers. It brings me great pride to be able to recognize the sacrifices of the men and women who have served our city, our counties, and the states that surround us to make sure that all Washingtonians are more safe. I join with the Attorney General, who is with us today, with Charles Allen and Robert White, and the City Administrator for the District of Columbia, in recognizing the service of all of the men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department. We are here to honor your unwavering commitment to those law enforcement officers and their families who have made the ultimate sacrifice. These officers served our residents, protected our communities, guarded our nation, and dedicated their lives to serving others. They did so without the expectation that accolades would be poured on them. They did it with the knowledge that their actions would sometimes be criticized, but they did it because of their unwavering service to protect and serve. Today, we honor their bravery, generosity, and fearlessness. We celebrate their legacies, and we offer condolences to their families and friends who have lost not just the officer, but father, son, mother, or daughter. And we remember the sacrifices of those family members too. The sacrifices of our fallen officers should motivate us all to do better, to be better, and to continue to work hard to make sure that we have safer, stronger communities, a safer and stronger country. One loss will always be too many. We are safer, we know, when we work together, police and community. We are safer, we know, when we have policies and strategies that are innovative and forward-looking, focused in data, and using the best technology. We are safer, we know, when justice is fair and indiscriminate. And we are safer, we know, when we protect and support and provide resources and training to the men and women who run towards danger to keep us all safe. Our residents in Washington, D.C. know that when they call 911, on the other end is someone who will be there to help them, to make a bad situation better. And we work every day to make sure that relationship is safe and strong as well. Today, let us remember and pledge never to forget the fat sacrifices of men and women who put their lives on the line and who have lost their lives in the line of duty. May God bless you all.
Our guest speaker is Councilmember Charles Allen, who represents Ward 6 and serves as the chair of the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee. Councilmember.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you and be asked to say a few words. And before I begin, I also do want to acknowledge some folks who have been acknowledged already. That's Attorney General Carl Racine, my colleague, Councilmember Robert White, and at-large councilman, of course, the mayor, Chief Newsham, and your leadership team. I serve as the Ward 6 council member and also as the chair of the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety. And what that means is that I have oversight of our Metropolitan Police Department. Now, our reason to be here today, of course, is a very solemn one, and I want to begin by offering my condolences and my sincere gratitude to the family members and the service members that are here today who have lost a loved one. On behalf of the 700,000 district residents and really on behalf of the entire region, we all say thank you, and I know that I'll do my part to help honor their sacrifice and their service. Now, as someone who's charged with writing the laws that our officers will then be asked to enforce, I join my colleagues in assuming the responsibility to write and pass laws that will make our community a more safe and a more just place to live. As chair of the committee that has oversight over the budget and operations of MPDs, it sometimes means I have to ask Chief Newsham some tough questions, but also means that I want to work in partnership with him and with his team to support our officers and all of those that are serving our city. Good police work from dedicated career professionals is an absolute cornerstone to every aspect of our lives. I've only joined officers for probably a fraction of the work that they perform, but I've watched firsthand as our officers navigate a community meeting on public safety in the local school auditorium, or sit in a living room to work through with neighbors on solutions to end chronic violence and crime, or interact with a young person on a sidewalk who may be in trouble, or who stops into that new local business to get to know the owner and the staff and be a resource as they create new jobs and opportunities. Each of those actions mean a lot, but so many more, they go unnoticed, they go unsaid, and they go unheralded. But those are the actions that build the trust that we have in our police officers, that we know that they'll be there when that time is that we have to call. But the task, of course, isn't always so straightforward. We ask our police officers to be the first in and the first ones to begin sorting out what is a tough situation. It's unpredictable. And unfortunately, that's also why we're here today, honoring those that have fallen and given their lives to keep others safe. But if our public safety and criminal justice systems are dependent solely on the work of our police officers, then frankly, we are failing both our communities and our officers. That's why I and district leaders have been focused not just on supporting our officers and their duty, but also on the legislative and policy reforms that lower recidivism and crime. I know that every single officer here has come across a young person who's committed a crime. Despite the tough front, they can betray the hurt, the trauma, the vulnerability of their own lives. And I know that you worry for them, what their future holds, and you ask whether this is starting a lifetime of cycling in and out of the criminal justice system, and is there little hope to see improvement? And these are the types of questions that also drive our work. As an example, the Council is taking up sweeping reforms to the Youth Rehabilitation Act. It would work with young offenders, victims of crimes, the courts, our officers, and service providers to better give youth a true chance at rehabilitation and lowering their chance at reoffending. Because if more of our young people who commit a crime are set back on the right path with the supports they need to successfully return home after their offense, it not only makes their lives better, their return home after, their communities better, but it also means a safer job for our officers. We know that these young people are coming back to the community, and we must do everything we can to make sure their transition is successful. It's why we're funding programs that treat violent crime as not only a public safety issue, but looking at it as a public health crisis as well, working to provide the services people need who are most likely to commit a crime or to become a victim of one. And all of that's happening in parallel to the work of our police force. And then bringing it back directly to our officers, I know we all want to make it easier to make that decision to begin a career in service as a police officer. Our cadet program, for example, which has been championed by Chief Newsham and Mayor Bowser, that recruits district high schoolers into a career of public service and a path toward MPD. As we look to help recruit the next generation of talented officers, the district's offering rental, home purchasing, and continuing education assistance to make sure they can call the city that they serve, they can also call it home. We fund these programs and so much more because we know public safety begins with our police officers, but our commitment to public safety cannot end there. And the more that we begin to chip away at those underlying causes that create the trauma, the harm, and the violence, the fewer dangerous calls that we'll have to ask our officers to respond to. I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words and to speak here today. More importantly, I want to thank you for your service and for your sacrifice. And not just, obviously, to the officers that are here today, but to the husbands and wives, to the mothers and fathers, the sons and daughters, the partners and colleagues, and everyone that has had a role in their lives. To the nights away from your family, to the weekends that are spent on the job, and to those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you very much on behalf of a grateful city and grateful region. Thank you very much.
And now for the reason that we're all here, to honor brothers and sisters that have gone down in the line of duty, I'd like to bring up the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Washington Field Office, Nancy McNamara.
Nice to meet you. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today to pay tribute to our colleagues, friends, and family members who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Today, I'd like to honor and recognize 5 special agents who lost their lives as a direct result of their duties following the September 11th attacks. Special Agents Wesley Yu, Jerry Job, Stephen Carr, and Robert Roth all responded to the Pentagon crash site, and Special Agent Rex Stockham responded to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, the site of the crash of United Flight 93. All 5 agents lost their lives due to illnesses resulting from their response and recovery efforts. Law enforcement personnel around this country work every day to keep our citizens safe and to uphold our laws. And while no system or person is perfect, make no mistake about it, that law enforcement is the foundation of what makes the United States of America the greatest country in the world. And for that, I thank you. So as we spend today honoring and paying tribute to our fallen comrades, let's keep all those people in mind and their efforts, not just today, not just this week or this month, but every day, and ensure that their legacy is never forgotten. Thank you all.
If we could bring up State Fire Marshal Brian Jurassic, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. Deputy Chief Sander Cohen lived a life of service to others across the state of Maryland as a Deputy Chief State Fire Marshal and in his community as a captain with the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department. He was a kind, caring, compassionate person that never failed to help anyone in need, as was evident on the night he was killed on December 8, 2017, when he stopped to assist FBI Supervisory Special Agent Carlos Wolf of the Washington Field Office, who had been involved in a single-vehicle collision on Interstate 270 in Montgomery County. Deputy Chief Cohen started with our agency on April 9, 2008, and is the first member to be killed in the line of duty since the agency was established 54 years ago. He graduated from the Prince George's County Police Academy in 2009 and was assigned to our Southern Regional Office. He was promoted to Deputy Chief in January of 2017 and assigned as the Regional Commander in our Northeast Office. Chief Cohen was an exemplary investigator and leader who took great pride in his law enforcement career and looking after the folks under his command. He devoted himself to protecting and serving the citizens of Maryland. He died a hero trying to help someone in need. His willingness to stop on a busy interstate to assist a stranger is indicative of the dedication and commitment he had to others. He is an example of the good in people and reflects the values of the Maryland State Fire Marshal's Office. Chief Cohen's not gone. He's just gone ahead of us. He will be missed by all who had the pleasure of knowing him, and we will forever keep him and the Cohen family in our thoughts and prayers. We will continue to come together as an agency, but as a large family to support one another during this time, as we honor Sander and continue to help protect our state from fire and explosions, and for all those who may be in need. I would like to thank Police Chief Newsham and the men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department for all your prayers and for honoring Deputy Chief State Fire Marshal Sander Cohen during today's service. May the peace of the Lord continue to watch over the Cohen family, all of us here today, all who are in law enforcement, and the men and women of the Office of the Maryland State Fire Marshal. Thank you.
As tradition now, it is the roll call of heroes. To read the names today, I want to bring up a few people. Bonnie Cannon, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 1, Auxiliary. Deputy Chief Steve Thompson with the Prince William County Police Department, and the treasurer for the D.C. chapter of Concerns of Police Survivors. Please come up. Baltimore? Hang on one second.
Yeah, you got it.
Hang on one second. This just in. Didn't forget you. I kind of did. Sorry about that. Finally, I want to hear from, we all want to hear from the Commissioner, Darrell DeSosa from the Baltimore City Police Department. He's here to honor Detective Sean Suter, who was killed this year on the job.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to those heroes in the back as well. I'm privileged to be here today to honor the life of service and memory of the Baltimore Police, our very own Detective Sean Suter. But first, I'd like to start by saying thank you to our partners in Washington, D.C. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Chief Newsham. Thank you, distinguished guests, for allowing us to participate in such a touching event today. Similar to you, Chief Newsham, I started my career 30 years ago with the Baltimore City Police Department. And from 1988 to November of 2017, we lost 22 heroes. That's 22 funerals I attended in my 30 years. And since the inception of the Baltimore City Police Department, we lost 136 heroes, 136. And I see Ms. Wood back there. We just honored Barry yesterday. It's too many. And behind us at the memorial, there's over 21,000 names that's inscribed on that wall. That's too many. And my friends and colleagues and families, my family members, they say, Darrell, you're probably the most optimistic person on the face of the earth, and I am. But I can say this at the end of the night, when I go home and sit quietly, my heart is torn. And every night when I go to sleep, I pray. Every morning when I wake up, I pray. Even throughout the course of the day, in between meetings, Chief, you know, multiple meetings, and I pray. I pray for the men and women who serve the community each and every day, and I pray that they go home safely. When they leave their homes every single day, we don't know what that next call for service is going to bring to us. So my prayers are always, always to the men and women that serve so honorably. Sean, along with other heroes being honored today, they leave behind a legacy. I call it in Baltimore VIPs. It's vigilance, integrity, and pride, which will always be the foundation for public service. And the way they live their lives, serving their communities, is a testament to the definition of heroism and valor. Being a police officer is not just a job or an occupation, but a calling that reaches out to us in many ways that defines exactly who we are. The National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial is located right around the corner, and carved on the walls are names of more than 21,000 officers who have been killed across America. Behind every name on the wall is a story of bravery and a story of courage. There's a quote at the memorial that reads, "It's not how these officers died that made them heroes, it's how they lived their lives." This is true, not only Sean Suter, but also the other law enforcement officers we are honoring today. These courageous public servants dedicated their lives to helping, saving, and protecting others. Nicole is not here, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Sean was a kind police officer, a detective, and we were lucky to have him serve with us and stand beside us in the Baltimore City Police Department. Thank you, Kevin. His work and the work of the men and women who served beside him impacted the lives of so many in some truly remarkable ways. We will never forget Sean's ultimate sacrifice or the joy he brought to so many. Nor will we forget the sacrifices of our fallen heroes, brothers and sisters across the country. And I say this not just to you, Ms. Wood, but to all the family members that are here. While we'll never be able to replace their lives and what you have endured, you'll always be a part of our family, that really thick blue line. We pledge that we will support and care for each of you just like your loved ones have supported and cared for our communities. May their testament, may their memories always be a blessing, and may God bless each and every one. And I'll say this before I say thank you. I'll say this, is that the men and women that wear the badge across the country, you do it so honorably. And for the family members, Kevin, Ms. Wood, Madam Mayor, for those who don't wear this uniform, for family and friends, and for children, you also wear the badge with us. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Welcome. At this time, you're welcome to place a flower at the memorial fountain in honor of your hero as the names are read. To receive a flower, please see a member at the back of the seat area to receive the flower and Washington Field Office, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent Wesley Yu. Special Agent Robert Roth. Special Agent Stephen Carr. Special Agent Jerry Job. Special Agent Rex Stockholm. Maryland Office of the State Fire Marshal, Deputy Chief Fire Marshal Sander Cohen. Baltimore City Police Department, Detective Sean Suter.
Metropolitan Police Department, Gail A. Cobb. Alfred V. Jackson. Richard F. Gagari. Arthur P. Snyder. Donald G. Lunning. Robert K. Best. Raymond E. Mumford. Joseph M. Knoyer. Kevin J. Welsh. Robert J. Remington. James Gordon. Ernest Carlisle Ricks III. Jason E. White. Henry Hank Daly. James M. McGee, Jr. Scott S. Lewis. Anthony Sims. Brian T. Gibson. Oliver Wendell Smith, Jr. Robert Louis Johnson, Jr., Thomas F. Hamlet, Jr., John S. Ashley, Clifton Rife II, Joseph Pizzell, James McBride, Gerard W. Burke, Jr., Wayne Pitt, Paul M. Didymo.
D.C. Department of Corrections, Carolyn Cross, Ronald Richardson, Amos Williams, Metro Transit Police, Harry Davis Jr., Marlon Morales, United States Capitol Police, Christopher Eney, Jacob Chestnut, John Gibson, Clinton Holtz, United States Park Police, Ricardo Preston, Hakeem Garthing, Michael Bone. United States Secret Service, K-9 Maxo. United States Postal Inspection Service, Robert Jones, Jr. United States Marshal Service, Bucky Burke. United States Department of Commerce, Dwayne Christian. United States Department of Veterans Affairs Police, Gary Ross. Department of Defense, Pentagon Police, James Feltus III. Walter Reed Army Medical Center Police, Volney Forney. Drug Enforcement Administration, Becky Dawoski. Federal Bureau of Investigation, James McAllister. Stanley Ronquest Jr. Martha Dixon Martinez. Michael John Miller. William Christian Jr. Christopher Lorick. Stephen Shaw. Sang Young. Maryland State Police, Gary May. Carrie Potzman. Theodore Wolf Sr. Raymond Armstead Jr. Edward Totley. Anthony Jones. Mickey Lippy. Wesley Brown. Shaft Hunter.
Frederick City Police Department, Richard Mark Bremer. Baltimore County Police Department, Jason Schneider. Hartford County Sheriff's Office, William H. Beebe Jr. Patrick Brian Daly. Mark Franklin Logston. Baltimore City Police Department, Craig Chandler. William D. Albers. Ronald L. Tracy. Marcellus Ward. Richard J. Leard. Vincent J. Adolfo. Richard T. Miller. Robert Alexander. William J. Martin. Ira N. Weiner. Herman A. Jones, Sr. Owen E. Sweeney, Jr. Harold J. Carey. Barry W. Wood. Jamie A. Rusi. Kayvon M. Gavin. John D. Platt. Kevin J. McCarthy. Michael J. Cowdery, Jr. Crystal D. Sheffield. Thomas G. Newman. Brian D. Winder. Anthony A. Bird. Troy L. Chesley, Sr. James E. Fowler, III. Thomas R. Ports. William Torbett, Jr. Forrest Taylor. Howard County Police Department, Scott Wheeler. Hyattsville Police Department, Robert J. King.
Montgomery County Police Department, Noah Liata. Philip Metz. Mark Byler. James Walsh. Joseph Mattingly, Jr. Luke Hoffman. Hector Ayala. William Talbert. Prince George's County Police Department, Brennan Rebane. Antonio Kelsey. Raymond Hubbard. Alan Johnson. Carlton Fletcher. Richard Beavers. Mark Murphy. Harry Kennigan, Jr. Ryan Johnson, Sr. Roger Fleming. John Bagiglio. John Novobilski. Kalonzo Massawa. Anthony Walker. Steve Gahn. Richard Finley. Thomas Jensen. Adrian Morris. Jekiah Colson. Prince George's County Sheriff's Office, James Arnaud. Elizabeth Magruder. Charles County Sheriff's Office, Corporal Jamal Loggett. Virginia State Police, Jonathan Bauman. Alexander Cochran III. Jacqueline Vernon. Jose Cabas. Jessica Cheney. Charles Coslett. Kevin Mannion. Andrew Fox.
Alexandria Police Department, Charles W. Hill. Morton Marshall Ford III. Alexandria Sheriff's Office, William Truesdale, Jr. Arlington County Police Department, Harvey Snook III. Fairfax County Police Department, Tommy Bernal. Vicky O. Armel. Michael E. Gabarino. Francis J. Stecco. Fredericksburg Police Department, Todd Allen Barr. Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, Charles H. Barton. Manassas City Police Department, John D. Connor III. Prince William County Police Department, Philip Mike Pennington. Chris Young. Ashley M. Gwendon.
Thank you to the Joint Regional Pipe and Drum Corps for providing musical selection. Here's Daniel Hickson, the Vice President of the DC Chapter of Concerns of Police Survivors.
Good afternoon. Chief Newsom got a chuckle when I had to duck it down from him. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today to represent the concerns of police survivors as the Vice President of the DC chapters. COPS has been proud to partner with the Fraternal Order of Police and Metropolitan Police Department in this annual ceremony to honor our heroes from the metropolitan area. Today we have an opportunity to connect with the survivors of our heroes that are being honored today and to assure each of them that we are here to assist you every step of the way. We are also here today to remember our fallen brothers and sisters who have been recognized in previous years and to remind their survivors that we truly never forget. That is why we symbolically read the name of each officer every year and place a flower upon the memorial to recognize their sacrifice. The COPS organization supports survivors through conferences and retreats that are tailored to the needs of all survivors, spouses, children, parents, siblings, and co-workers. Both the national office and your state chapter are always here to assist you. We also offer training and assistance to law enforcement agencies on how to respond to the loss of an officer. Personally, as a co-worker affected by line-of-duty death, I too am a survivor, and I'd like to take a few minutes to speak directly to my law enforcement brothers and sisters. As police officers, our first reaction is to assist others, but we need to recognize that we are also affected by a line-of-duty death. During the years I was with the Metropolitan Police Department, 31 officers were added to the MPD memorial to officers killed in line of duty. The first was Officer Gail Cobb, whose end of watch was October 30th, 2010. Gail was shot and killed while apprehending a bank robbery suspect. The last was Officer Paul Didymo, whose end of watch was October 30th, 2010. Paul gave his life in a traffic accident while responding to another officer's call for help. In between these two, there were 29 other heroes. As I just found out, like Chief Newsham, every year during Police Week, I take time to review the MPD memorial list to ensure that I personally never forget. Some of these officers are acquaintances, but others, like Art Snyder, Joe Canoia, Kevin Welsh, Hank Daly, and Brian Gibson, were friends whose memories run deep. My glimpse into their life came from spending hours together on patrol, investigating cases, attending court, and socializing. The emotions associated with these memories run the gamut. They were happy, sad, insightful, and to be honest with you, some of them are downright hilarious. As I think of each officer, I feel both sorrow and joy, but mostly I'm thankful for the opportunity to know them. I encourage everyone here to do the same. Take some time to remember the hero you are here today to honor. Think about the times you shared with them as you went through life together, worked together, socialized, spent time in conversation, or just enjoyed each other's company. Commissioner DeSouza mentioned earlier a quote, and it's from Vivian Cross Eney, who's the widow of U.S. Capitol Police Sergeant Christopher Eney. And I ask you to remember her words that are engraved on the National Law Enforcement Memorial. It is not how these officers died that made them heroes, but how they lived. Thank you.
Just for a second, I don't know if maybe it's just me, but I'm standing here and I'm looking at every single one of these flowers, and the thought is this, is that one is too many, and the fact that there are so many, for those especially in the audience who have lost somebody dear and dear to them, each one of these represents a gaping hole. Can't even describe it. Pain, loss. If there's any comfort to be had from all of these flowers, then it has to come from the fact that what they stood for and what they did in their lives helps fill the holes and perhaps the hearts of some of those still in uniform today that need maybe another reason to carry on for another day because of all how difficult this job has become, being a police officer in modern day America. So maybe these represent what's going to make law enforcement better in the days ahead, or at least give them the strength and courage. Now the Metropolitan Police Department Air Support Unit and Prince George's County Air Support Unit will conduct a flyover in honor of all of these heroes. Timing those things out can be tricky. Now for the playing of taps, which will be followed by the retirement of colors. I'd like to bring Monsignor Saul back up here for the benediction. Monsignor?
Let us now once again bow our heads in prayer. God our Father, you have written in the Scriptures, there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for another. Today, we remember those 7 who have done just that. We give thanks for their lives, for their commitment, and for their dedication to their departments, to their communities, and to our country. Lord, we once again pray that they are truly walking now the streets and protecting those streets of the eternal reward. We also ask that you continue to protect all men and women of law enforcement to return them home safely to their loved ones. And may the Lord now bless us. May he let his face shine upon us. May he continue to be with us this day and every day. In his name we once again pray. Amen.
We're going to retire colors in a second. Before we do, just a final thought to say goodbye. We can pray going forward that we never have to add another name to the memorial. And going forward also, the best we can do is to give thanks. Clearly, there's a debt we can never repay. But if you go by a police officer, shake their hand, tell them thank you for your service and your sacrifice, and to their family as well. Have a good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Detail. Port. Whoop. Right. Think. Forward. Whoop. Left. Right. Left. Left. Right. Left.
This might be where the chief would say dismissed. Have a good day. Thank you for coming.